Now, hello everyone, how are you going this evening? I just have to give my hands a quick wash over here. Bear with me. So this evening we're going to make a fantastic spice bag. Show you how easy this is. You might hear it in the background there. I have some chips cooking in the chip pan. I normally make homemade most of the time. I much prefer them. But for this, I'm doing frozen because if you buy them, sorry about that. It's important the hands are clean. If you get this from a Chinese, they're going to use frozen chips, most of them. There's a nice one in Wexford actually, one of the few Chinese I've ever seen that does. I can't remember the name of it. If you're from Wexford, what is it? Say it in the comments, please. A really nice Chinese, and they do these gorgeous homemade chips. Down some small, I'm going to say small street, but I suppose all streets in Wexford are small. Now there's our chips in cooking. So let's get cracking into this. This is really simple. There's nothing difficult about this at all. First of all, I'll go through the ingredients that you're going to need with you, and then I'll show you how to quickly prepare everything. So you need your chicken breasts. This is a large chicken breast, which we see a lot of these days, unfortunately. So if it's big like this, that'll do 2 people, and I'll show you what I'm making it, just how. So it's up to yourself as to how much meat you want to give, but a healthy portion would be that between 2 people. So you need your chicken breast, you need your breadcrumbs. I'll post the link to the recipe for the PDF when I'm done in the video here. You can download. This is in this week's dinner plan, and it's free download if you want to get a copy of it. So you need your egg, and then you need your flour. So that's what's going to coat the chicken. Now, there's 2 ways of doing this. If you've watched any of my previous videos, you do many of my recipes. You see my salt and chili chicken, my sesame and honey chicken, all of these different types of Chinese chicken. The chicken is done in the egg yolk, marinated in the egg yolk, a little bit of garlic, a little bit of soy, a little bit of ginger, and then it's taken out and it's rolled in a mixture of flour, corn flour and baking powder. Now you can do it like that, and a lot of you that get it at home will get it in a Chinese like that. So that's, if you just Google Biamat Chinese and you look up any of my Chinese recipes that have anything with a crumb on it, that's exactly how you do it. It's the authentic way of doing it. It's the same way you'll get it in Hong Kong or Beijing, in Dublin or in Cork. This way I'm doing it now, and the reason I've changed it slightly is this can be oven cooked, so it's better for you in a healthier version, and a lot of people don't have a fryer, so the other way isn't suitable for an air fryer if you have an air fryer, which a lot of people seem to have these days. So hence I'm doing it this way. But just look up the recipe if you want to see it, how to do it with that. Again, it's the egg yolk and the corn flour, the baking powder and the regular flour. So then you need peppers. You can use whatever colour you like. I like red and I like the yellow, just purely for colour in this. I'll be taking some photographs afterwards. You can use a white onion, you can use a red onion, you can use spring onions. You need a couple of garlic cloves. You can use garlic paste, but garlic cloves are better for this. And a chilli, entirely up to if you want to use it. I'm using a red one, you can use a green one, whatever you want, whatever heat level chilli you want. It's entirely up to yourself. So when you're getting set up for this, oh yeah, and I've got some coriander over here as well. I've just got a packet of coriander there. And then I've got my spice mix. And the spice mix is really simple. It's just a little bit of Chinese spice, paprika and coriander powder. Now if you want, and a little bit of pepper as well, white pepper. If you want, you can put some chili powder into that, or cayenne pepper into that, to add extra heat. It's up to yourself if you want that extra heat. It all depends on what you're used to and what you prefer. So right, let's get stuck into this straight away. Make sure that's all working before we get cracking. So grab your chicken breast and just trim off any little bits of fat that are on it like that. Get it nice and lean. These bigger chickens and older chickens that we're getting for the last couple of years here in Ireland, they're not as nice. I don't know if anyone noticed it. Now, to do this, get your chicken breast and slice across, mind your fingers, and this is called butterflying a chicken breast, okay? And that's great for doing burgers and all sorts of things, or else if you're cooking for kids, it's like you're giving them a breast each, especially one of these bigger breasts. So when you have it like that, but cut it all the way through this time, put it down, and then from an angle, slice it, So you're getting just like this. Yeah, see that? About half the width of my actual finger. And just do it all. They don't have to be perfect, but get them as close as possible in size so that they'll cook evenly. If you make one small and one really big, the really big one will be cooked and the small one will be overcooked. Now, you see how much chicken you have there, and you think of all of that coated and in pieces. You see how far it actually goes. That's why this is a great dish. So now, as usual, you're probably sick of me saying it, it's a raw meat. That's why I'm using a different board, and my knife has gone back over there to the kitchen. So, or sorry, to the sink. So we'll put. I'm right-handed, so we put down the flour, we put down the egg, and we put down the breadcrumb, and we get another bowl. And I put that down, and that's, I'm going to work from here. I'm going to use my left hand, I'm going to pick it up and dip and go around. I'll show you that in a moment. Let me have a look at my chilies. They're doing great. So here we go. So grab your chicken and just grab a little handful, not all of it, put it into the flour, and using your hand gently, don't squeeze it together. You want it to come apart and you want it to be coated in the flour. Then piece by piece lift it out, give it a little shake, not too much because you don't want this flour going everywhere. It's touching raw meat. Now, remember I wash my hands thoroughly before this. That's really important every time you're doing anything like this, and again every time after you do something like this. So then into the egg, and you see, multitasking. You'd never think you'd see a fella doing it. Now, here's a little trick. I've told you a few of this in videos before. If you notice this hand I'm keeping away from this, if I put this hand into this and then touch the flour or the breadcrumbs, it's going to be coated in breadcrumbs in no time at all. So this hand here is the hand that I'll use. Just let me move that out of the way. This hand here is the hand that I'll use to lift it out, and I'll put it into the breadcrumbs. Now, that's going to be an awkward way of doing it. So let me grab a much easier way of doing it. I'm going to grab a roasting tin. Alright. Breadcrumbs into that, and now watch the difference. So we'll grab this, put it in. Again, it's a messy job. You can use gloves. I would normally always use gloves doing this, but unfortunately, as you probably know, they're very difficult to find at the minute. So now I'm not going to bread all of that chicken. There's no need for me to do every single bit of it for you. I'm just going to do the one portion. But you can just do it like so. You can use panko breadcrumbs as well if you so choose. Or you can use the other flour method. I prefer the flour method, to be honest with you. This isn't the way I choose to do it, but this is the way that many of you will. I'll just do a little bit more. This is the way many of you will choose to do it for the reasons you may not have a fryer, or you just want to have a healthier version and do it in your oven. So you can bake this now. So you preheat your oven to 180. Put this on greaseproof paper and bake it, and then turn it around. This is the thing with breadcrumbs. These breadcrumbs are actually a little bit wet that I'm working with. I would dry those out in an oven. Usually, or I'd use dry panko breadcrumbs, so that's why they're gone quite clumpy. The breadcrumbs themselves have a little bit of moisture on them. So let me give my hands a nice good wash there. And we'll just get rid of the gunk. I'll come back and I'll grab these out of the way. And now we'll give my hands a proper wash once we get these done. And if you notice, even my tea towel is wet, so I know that I'm working with raw stuff. Don't get mixed up at all. You don't have to be as particular at home. It's just part of my training as a chef to do these things, but you don't have to be near as particular at home. Right. Let me grab another board. And my reason for doing that is raw chicken has touched that board, and I don't want to be mixing them. So now it's the vegetable part. Let me have a little look at my chips. Those chips are ready. We'll just give those a second. In the meantime, we don't need all of the pepper. If you are cooking for a family, you do. There's only literally one person going to eat this. which is my housemate, who's a massive fan of the spice bag. Sorry about the noise of the fryer in the background there. I hope you can hear me alright there still. Another thing I wanted to say to you guys, if you'd rather I have this stuff already cut and I can be doing a video and the video is over in 2 or 3 minutes, I can do that too. It's entirely up to yourselves. Some people said they prefer this, so I started doing it this way. Now I'm not going to cut that just yet. Let me show you how to do garlic really easy. Put it down, blade of the knife pointing down away, and give it a little tap. My heel, my hand, that's really fresh garlic. I just peel it simply. And I think I'll have enough. It's a big garlic clove. I think I'll have enough in the one. And I'm just going to slice that down. We're not chopping it, we're just slicing it nice and thinly. Yeah, I'm just going to leave that to one side. Now grab your onion and cut it. Take the root and the tip off of it. Cut down in half. Onion you need to peel, red onion you need to peel a big bit of the skin away. Again, I'm not using the full. And slice that. Alright, done. Let's get some heat going in here because dinner will be ready. Well, you think I'd know how to work this again. Turn it up about medium high. I'm across the kitchen grabbing my chips. And I'm putting them into a bowl. Let me show you a little secret here. When I come back, I'll grab a tongs and we'll grab my chicken. And we're going to stick the fryer basket down. Don't put the chicken in when the basket is up. Especially when you're doing batter things, always make sure the basket is down first. So that's my chicken going in. Just separating it piece by piece. There we go. Now, that shouldn't be long at all. So chips, when you put them in a bowl like this, you can season them just in the bowl like that. Give them a little toss around like that and you're not using an abundance of salt. It's exactly what we do in restaurants, but it also removes a lot of the oil. It stays in the bowl, not in the chips. So it's a really, really good way of doing it. So now, this is on here. Let me grab a little drop of oil. One day I'm going to put this big drum of oil in a small jug. So I have to regret that every time. Now. So again, if you're stir frying, the better one to use for stir frying, we'll turn that down just a little, the better one to use for stir frying is rapeseed or vegetable or sunflower. I don't have the best owl picker, so I'm using olive oil for most things. And with my basket, a little shake with my fryer, leaving it down. And we're just going to give that a little cook. Now we want this to cook until it's near soft. And these cook a lot quicker, the chilli and the garlic, which is the reason I'm not putting them in. Just check. Now, I'm going to be ready to go in just a moment. So it's up to you how soft you want these. Traditionally most places, but then every Chinese does it different, don't they? And traditionally it's done soft, as in Irish tradition, because this isn't the thing you get in China. I worked and lived in Hong Kong and China for a while, so it's not something I've ever seen over there. In fact, getting a potato over there is a nightmare. Getting a good chip over there is a nightmare. Even working in catering and having access to suppliers, getting actual chips was a complete nightmare. Which wouldn't be a bad thing if you could have got good potatoes to make your own, but you just couldn't. And I remember walking down the street one day in Cowlin, and I seen this big shamrock, and the name on this place was Ireland's Potato. And I nearly wet myself. I was so excited. I ran across the road to this place and I went in, and I'm thinking I'd hear some Irish accents or something, but no, not at all. It was some lovely Chinese people. But yes, they didn't have a clue how to cook a potato. Fair play to them. Or God love them, I should say. Maybe a little trip to Ireland and see how we do it. But yeah, God, it's hard to get a good potato in China. So that's one of the reasons that many people probably notice when you get chips from a Chinese, they're usually terrible. Or quite often, I should say. Now, so what I'd be doing now if I was you at home, I'd have that down and I'd just cook it a little low till they're nice and soft. And for the sake of a live video, I'm not going to cook them that soft. So I'm just going to put in a little bit. Is that brand new and unopened? It is. I'm just going to put in just a teaspoon, maybe 3 teaspoons of soy sauce. That's the Kikkoman one that I use. Now we don't want this wet, it's a dry dish. And I can really smell that. Soy sauce burns, you turn your heat really down, the soy sauce will burn and you don't want it to burn. It's full of all that sugar and everything inside it will just burn and you'll get this really strong caramel flavour off it. You don't want that. That's good there now, so in goes my garlic and in goes my chilli. I don't want them soft, I don't want them fully cooked. I want them with that little bit of a bite. Most Chinese foods come with a little bit of a bite. As many of you know, they're vegetables. So there we go. Now, turn that off completely. You don't want any more of it. Grab this. And let me show you. So we're going to just get a little bit of the seasoning. And we're just going to mix a little bit in with the chips. I'm going to mix a little bit. Again, I'm not using it all because I'm not cooking for the same amount as you might be cooking for at home if you're following the full recipe. Give that a mix, get my chips, put a nice lock of chips in there. Now, get rid of that, give it a little stir. Actually, you know, the best thing for that then would be a spoon. Give it a stir. Oh, that smells absolutely amazing. Let's grab a bowl. And our chicken. Now if you have, and you do the chicken the flour way, what I recommend you do is you put it in now because it will hold together better. If you do the breadcrumb way, you can't put it in now because the breadcrumbs will fall apart. So stick your chicken, or your chip mix in. Now, before we grab the chicken, using the same pan and a little bit more of the seasoning, just a little, just a tiny little bit. You don't want to overdo it because Chinese spice is very strong. Give it a little toss and then, forgive my fingers, just stick your chicken and there you have it. Absolutely delicious and very, very quick, very, very simple. My recommendation to do this at home, excuse me, my recommendation if you're going to do this at home is get your vegetables cut, get it all done before you start cooking, have everything lined up, get your chicken crumbed or floured, whichever method you want to use, and get it into the fryer. But have your chips done first before you do your chicken. Do your chips if you're using frozen chips in particular. Get them done because it's easier just to reheat a few chips, or else turn your oven onto 100 and stick them in, but that costs money. What else? Yes, you can batch cook this. You can make as many of these as you like, and you can stick them into onto a roaster, roasting tin lined with say baking paper or greaseproof, and then put them down individually. Stick them into your freezer, take them out, and when they're frozen then individually you can put them into a bag and they won't all stick together on you. You can also cook them like this and freeze them, and then you can take them out and you can put them into the oven to start them again. And you can also just crisp them in the fryer. So crisp them up in your fryer and don't cook them fully, just until the outside kind of sets and coats. It'll take 30 seconds when your fryer is hot enough, and then take them out and then allow them to cool, and then put them on a tray, just like if you're doing them raw with the greaseproof paper. Put them into the freezer, freeze them like that, take them out when they're frozen and put them into bags, and then you can take them out and cook them. You can finish those in your fryer or your oven later stage. Anyway,